I will have 2 minutes more now, or anyway, that I calculate. I was introduced to mind mapping, I think, about 4 years ago when I was taking a training course on information management, and I liked the phenomena ever since. And I started to study the phenomena of mind mapping. I came across software. I bought some software on my Mac, and I read books and I searched the internet and I came across Biggerplate as well. Now I just want to thank Liam for the opportunity that I am today, and I see that many names whom I've come across over the years are present today, which is of course interesting in the end to meet you all in person. First of all, I would like to start with a question. I will reveal some personal details about myself in a minute. Do you know what is the most common joke about Dutch government employees? It's that when they wink to each other, they open one eye. And you see that the Dutch government and Russian government is not so much of a difference. So basically that is a well-known joke. The second question would be the following. I'm used to it, of course, but how many of you in the room have more than 1,000 colleagues in your direct and working environment? You see, so it's not many, some of you. And the reason why I mention this is because, if you can see it, it generates some sort of colorlessness. I don't know if that is really an English word anyway, but the fact is that you have to blend in as a person. I mean, it's the way you dress, it's the way you talk, it's the way you behave. It's not like you can behave like anybody, because there's 1,000 people around you, and you cannot be like an idiot. You have to kind of blend into the environment where you are. I hope that the distance is okay. Here you see on the down picture, you see my building where I work every day. In that building, every day, 1,200 people arrive. And they sit the whole day and they watch their screen and they go back in the evening. Okay? Yeah. Question number 3 is, of course, if you want to change something, what do? Huh? It's not very easy if you are the only one in 1,000 people who thinks a little bit about mind mapping. Well, just a short detail about myself. I, in daily life, do more than one thing. I'm lucky. And I do not mind map as a professional in the way that it's not my work. I use it as a tool, just like I use Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word and PowerPoint and all the software packages that we have and use in daily life. Here's my details. I work as a political advisor and policy analyst for public order, security and crisis management in the Dutch Ministry of Transportation. I call it like that. It's easier than the other name. And it is special. My specialty is the civil aviation part. Besides that, I work in NATO headquarters in Brussels for 2 days in the week, where I serve as a chairman of the transport group Civil Aviation. And also my background, 20 years ago I finished the studies in Arabic languages. That was 20 years ago. And I still have a specific liking for this area in the world where a lot is happening right now. So for a UK company, I write every month 1 or 2 pieces on political and security and risk analysis. And there is a lot going on, as you may be well aware of. Okay, now as I said, my daily life is in the Civil Aviation Department, and the Civil Aviation Department deals with aircraft. Yes, 15 minutes plus 2, right?
No, you got your 2.
Oh, sorry. Okay. This is the newest aircraft. It's the Airbus 380. Perhaps you know that, or you know anything about aircraft. I don't know. But Airbus 380 can have like 500 passengers, and it's a very large aircraft. And if you are flying, you have an air internet cafe. So it is a great place to be there. And as the government salaries, by the way, are very good, I have always my private bar. So that is kind of a good thing. Now, and I was also lucky this year to get the TLI certificate with I mind map. I will have one slide on my work, and that's this one. What basically is my work is that we think about how to deal with difficult situations that are civil aviation related. So on the right hand side you see all kinds of hazards which can happen and fall upon us, like volcanic ashes and earthquakes and diseases and fires and whatever. And then on the left hand side you have the impact analysis, what is the effect on the civil aviation operation and what to do. And as you are perhaps well aware, you remember perhaps the volcanic ash, where in like 1 or 2 days time air traffic in Europe stopped and there were a lot of problems. And that is basically the principle. You think about it before it happens, because when it happens you're in trouble. Okay? Now, I'm not going to talk any more about my work. I'm going to talk about mind mapping, because that was Liam asked me to. And I'll do that in an ordinary way by doing a SWOT. First of all, I think that mind mapping is of course very suitable to use in a government context. What we do on a daily basis in the ministry is that we do policy making. And policy making is basically nothing else than having a problem and having a solution, trying to think about a solution. The problem, for example, is there is a lot of deadly casualties in traffic in the Netherlands on the highways. So deadly casualties on the highways, and the way you want to solve that is to put a speed limit of 120 kilometers per hour. And then the number of casualties may go down. This is a simple example. There's of course a lot more complicated way of making policies. We have now a very difficult situation in the Netherlands with the government and the budget of the government. This is of course a more complex example. Now, when you are in making policy, it is not easy, and sometimes you have very difficult problems. And of course it's very good to use mind mapping as a tool and to figure out your options. That is of course a very valuable tool as well. At the same time, you can try to stand from here perhaps. You can also do brainstorming. Brainstorming is of course a very good tool to figure out problems and solutions. And at the same time, we are a large organization, have a need for more efficiency, of course, basically because information overload is of course one of the issues that we also deal with. The problem I always mention is the fact that like a couple of years ago, and actually the law for speed limit was passed to Parliament, they forgot to put the trucks in it. So that was kind of a stupid thing to do. You know, obviously that was amended later, but it was a very strange thing that it happened. Anyway, of course, when you have difficult problems, you also need complex solutions, and mind mapping, I think, is something that can really help. However, there is some issues, of course. One of the issues is, and of course you can understand that, it's the IT environment in which we work in a ministry. Of course, we have to use Windows computers. I'm joking, but I use a Mac myself, but we have only Windows computers in the ministry. And most of that is slow and frustrating, so you have to be really patient. The first time when I came back from this training course and I asked for do you have software in mind mapping and can I have that on my computer, they gave me Mind Manager version 6, which was I think from 2006. Obviously the world has changed ever since, but anyway. I was making a joke about opening one eye or two eyes, but there is really a lot of work pressure. We have really a lot of workload. And of course, people always say, well, then I don't have time to do anything else. I have to, keep on pressing. And this is an example of, how you have one word on the branch, which is the basic for mind mapping, one word on the branch. How do you create an appealing mind map for executive management? That is not very easy, and sometimes when you have a really complex problem, it takes you a lot of time, and I don't have the time to spend one day on designing a mind map. The average age is 42. I have to speed up a little bit, which means that many people, they don't wake up in the morning and think about learning a new software package. They simply like it. And we have no training courses, so we have to press a button to see how a computer works, because there's no time and no money to have a course. There is a traditional attitude. Mind maps are too irregular. When I present a mind map to my boss or superior, he says, well, it's all going all sides. What is that? And you know what? How is it possible? So what I did is I created some colors. Here you see is one mind map where I say, okay, this is for you. It's the green color and the yellow color, and that's how you would try to circumvent the issue. The organizational infrastructure is, of course, rather anonymous. So whatever I do, it's like in between thousands of other people who do the same thing, but in a different way. And of course there's hierarchy and communication. That's how people communicate with each other in a government organization. That is not a very, that is sometimes very complex. And one of the issues, of course, is that I can never say my boss that he's efficient and he's too busy. Now I have to play the movie. Hang on. I'm not used to a Windows computer, you know.
They're brilliant.
Sorry about that.
They're really good.
And very fast.
Yeah, really fast as well.
This is about communication in a government context. Is it working? The sound.
Oh, Condoleezza, nice to see you. What's happening?
Well, Mr. President, I have the report here about the new leader in China.
Wait, Condi, lay it on me.
Mr. President, who is the new leader of China?
Well, that's what I want to know.
Well, that's what I'm telling you, Mr. President.
Well, that's what I'm asking you, Condi. Who is the new leader of China?
Yes.
I mean the fella's name.
Q.
The guy in China.
Q.
The new leader of China.
Q.
The Chinaman.
Q is leading China, Mr. President.
What are you asking me for?
I'm telling you, Q is leading China.
Well, I'm asking you, Condi, who is leading China?
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Will you or will you not tell me the name of the new leader of China?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir? Yes, sir?
That's correct, sir.
Then who's in China?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir's in China?
Yes,
Then who is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir?
No, sir.
Honey, you're starting to piss me off now. Black nutter. I need to know the name of the new leader of China, so I want you to get me the Secretary General of the United Nations on the phone.
Coffee, Annan?
No, thanks. And Condi, tell me that.
You want coffee?
No.
You don't want coffee?
No, but now you mention it, I could use a glass of milk. Not Yasser, the guy at the United Nations. The guy at the UN.
Now, who is the guy in China?
Stay out of the Middle East. Just get me the guy at the UN. All right. With cream and 2 sugars. Now get on the phone.
Hello?
You may believe that this is unique, but it is not. I just have to get this thing. Yes, 5, I know. Yeah. This is not easy. Where's the presentation mode? It's hidden. Okay. If I speed up, can you just stay here? I have one more movie. It's only 50 seconds, but... Okay. No, the next map. We are going to opportunities. I will... there is, of course, a lot of opportunities, and one of the things is that the government organization is really being confronted with a lot of budget cuts. It means that we have to really get down in personnel with 25%, and that means that obviously we have to look for greater efficiencies. Is there no way you can speed this up? Down, 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 down.
You should have stopped the presentation. Then you can continue presenting.
Everyone's got solutions afterwards. But he's a visual thinker.
No, not yet. Almost. 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 There we are, yeah. Okay. We have the budget cuts, as I mentioned, and there's less people and more work. So we really have a need for a lot of extra methodologies. I think that mind mapping is very good for getting an overview, which is also extremely important. And of course we need to prioritize, because a lot of work is coming at us, and it's really getting a problem if you have to face these budget cuts, and personnel cuts. We have something called het nieuwe werken. It's called new methodologies of work. It means that we can work, place and time independent, which is very good. But time management becomes important. And it also means that we have an opportunity to use different software. I can use my own laptop, which is very, very good, of course. There is some issues, of course. Chaos of the day, everybody knows it. And that will never go away. Perhaps there's people who say, well, I don't care if I do everything the same as I did last year. What's the problem with you? So that is obviously, you have it everywhere. There's a lot of digital unawareness. I tend to believe that for time and management, we have more and more IT assets coming up, and many people do not have an understanding of what this all are. And of course, when there is stress, what do you do with stress, right? You don't have time to learn a new working methodology, and that's being increased by the HR cuts, which are being everywhere in the government. I have created a little slide to see and give you an overview of the ministries in the Netherlands. We have like 120,000 people working in the nation's government. And here you see Ministry of Interior is 10,000 people, Finance 32,000, and you can follow the list. And my ministry is the Ministry of Transportation. It is 13,000 people. So we speak about a lot of large organizations. And if you want to approach somebody in such an organization to spread the message of mind mapping, I can suggest the way that World of Minds is doing it with us, and that is you have a kind of ambassador position where you give a lot of information to one person and he spreads the message inside such an organization. Obviously, you have to be patient, so if you give him the message and you give him the information, don't expect the next week that half of the ministry, which is 7,500 people, jump up and want to go mind mapping the next day. You have a training anyway if you do that. So you need a lot of patience, and it'll take perhaps 1 year or more. And it is always important to avoid crisis. That is very important. The second movie. It is 50 seconds, so I think I am right on time now. Huh? 1 minute, see? Yeah. Yes, it's the German Coast Guard. Nothing in person.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
We have one slide. That's the last one. Oh, you have to go all the way? Oh, all right.
Just click the break.
No, it's on the left. It was the slide. Thank you for your attention. It's on the top left side. It's okay. More left, but it's all right. Up. It should be somewhere. Yeah, it was on. Yeah, thanks for listening.